Afghanistan is one of the most dangerous countries. Tapos meron pang, in fact, meron travel advisories against going there due to proliferation ng crime sa kaya civil unrest. So, would you not consider na bakit kailangan nating i-accommodate sila rito? Is it safe for us?
It's the right thing to do as humanly as possible. Kung identify ka na tumutulong sa Amerikano, patay ka. So maawa naman tayo sa kanila. Isn't it the right thing to do? Kasi personally, we should do it. It's the right thing to do.
Pero sir, during your meeting, na-mention gaano karami yung mga Afghan nationals na dadalhin dito at gaano katagal sila mag-stay dito? Napag-usapan daw ba yung request ng US na i-accommodate natin yung mga Afghan nationals?
Yes, there was a request.
And then, paano yung naging meeting, napag-usapan
Ako,
nito?
on a personal capacity as the Senate President, I think it is the right thing to do for humanitarian concerns. I was once Vice Chairman of the Philippine Red Cross. I'm still a Board of Governors of the Philippine Red Cross. As a humanitarian, a believer in saving suffering humanity, it is the right thing to do as humanly as possible. Why? Hindi naman po sila lilipat dito sa ating bansa. Ang request lang po ay parang halfway house, na kung saan sila po gagastos ng lahat, ang Estados Unidos. Gagawa po sila ng housing, gagawa po sila ng facilities, na pag-alis po after 60 to 90 days, pag-alis po ng Afghan refugees, papunta na Amerika, maiiwan po lahat yan sa Pilipinas. Kaya sino nagsasabi na tatayuan pa natin sila ng bahay, tatayuan pa natin sila ng mga pasilidades. Hindi po totoo yun. Ang magtatayo po, ang Estados Unidos, at maiiwan po yan as asset na ng ng ating Estado, ng Pilipinas. So, I was told that last week, there were already, in another halfway house, 200 Afghan refugees were already boarded into a C-130 plane. This was told to me by one of the officials of the government. I will not anymore mention the name because that might be private, secret discussions. But they told me, sir, last week we had 200 Afghan refugees in a C-130 ready to leave Afghanistan, Kabul, to already go to another country, halfway area, being processed for the United States. Alam mo, pinadisembark sila, yung 200 na hindi nila mahanap kung saan po sila.
Kawawa naman.
Men, women, and little children. Now they cannot be found. They cannot be located anymore. The reason why they were unloaded, they have no understanding why. It could be anything between harassment to abduction to whatever. We don't know the fate of these 200 Afghan refugees. That is the situation now in Afghanistan with the Taliban. I guess, kung identify ka na tumutulong sa Amerikano, patay ka. So maawa naman tayo sa kanila. Isn't it the right thing to do? We have a record. Let me state for the record. We had done this in 1930s with the Jewish people. Noong nagkaroon po ng patayan sa World War II in Europe, President Manuel L. Quezon opened the doors of the Philippines and brought them into the Philippines to seek safe refuge. Ganda po ng ginawa po natin yan. The fall of Saigon in Vietnam, naalala mo yung Puerto Princesa dati, ang dami mga Vietnamese boat people na nandun. It was opened by President Marcos to allow them to come in and to relocate in Puerto Princesa. And that is why Puerto Princesa is known for a lot of Vietnamese cuisine. Masarap yung Vietnamese food. There's a Philippine-Vietnamese village. It was the right thing to do. And I think if these men and women and children are being slaughtered for supporting another country at the time, I think, and they're being now repatriated to the United States, I think it's the right thing to do for the Philippines to allow them to come up with a halfway house here. What is important is it's immediate. Kasi hinahanap na sila, isa-isang hinahanap sila. At tina-target for persecution.
Sir, na-mention ba?
Kawawa naman sila. So if you ask me personally, I do not know the legal impediments to this. But if you ask me personally, we should do it. It's the right thing to do.
Pero sir, during your meeting, na-mention gaano karami yung mga Afghan nationals na dadalhin dito at gaano katagal sila mag-stay dito?
They didn't mention the number, but hindi naman ganun karami. Kasi ano pala meron po silang halfway house sa Germany, meron po silang halfway house, I think other countries sa Qatar, they have several countries that are like the halfway house processing center for these refugees. And we're signatories to several United Nations statutes in supporting, the helping these refugees. So, ito pala. Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights recognizes the right of persons to seek asylum. But actually, they're not even seeking asylum. They're not seeking asylum in the Philippines.
Temporary shelter.
Temporary lang po sila dito while all their papers are documented. And they are going to be vetted out kasi may mga security analysts dito nagsasabi baka po pumasok dyan ng Taliban.
Terrorist.
Alam mo, pag vinet out na yung State Department ng Estados Unidos yan, napakahigpit sila sa vetting process. Napakahigpit. So, mas mahigpit pa sila sa atin sigurado. Sigurado ako dito kasi we're going to ask the Americans again, our allies, ito ba may terrorist links? We're the same thing, we're going to ask them. But they've been vetted out already by the U.S. State Department and Homeland Security before they can even enter the Philippines. Kaya, guys, let's put ourselves in that situation. Kung nagkagera tayo dito, hindi ko na babanggitin kung sino, pasukan tayo dito. Dahil malapit po tayo sa Estados Unidos, sabihin ng Estados Unidos, lahat kayo mga Pilipino, welcome kayo lumipat sa United States. And we need a halfway house. I'm sure we'll appreciate this gesture that they would do for us. So, I think that's the whole point here, is it's the right thing to do.
Before may si Jojo related.
I joke, yeah, joke.
Sir, sabi nga pero still din po yung Taliban medyo manawag kasi may possible na makakagin.
Pag
Hindi
in-accommodate.
naman siguro. Anong gagawin nila? Hindi naman siguro anong gagawin nila. They're having problems surviving as a country, so I don't want to comment on the issue on the Taliban. Mga akin lang dyan, it's the right humanitarian thing to do. And we have a history on that. Actually, sagot nga ng State Department under Secretary Nuland is that the Philippines has a history of helping people. Has a history of helping people. Kaya ang ganda So, anong binanggit niya yan, I totally agree. Remember, dahil nga dyan sa ginawa natin in 1930s sa mga Jewish people of Israel, may visa-free status ng Filipino sa Israel. Number one, caregivers ng Israel, Filipinos. They welcome Filipino workers in Israel. And we can go anytime. You can get a ticket, go to Israel. Once you enter the border, Filipino, no problem. Pasok. No problem. Ganun nila tayo kamahal. Ganun nila tayo kamahal.
Okay, Aaron, sir,
Aaron.
patanong.
Pero Senator, may mga usap-usapan po kasi that there are possibilities that the Afghans coming here to the Philippines, there is a possibility na sila ay US operatives na gagamitin sa pagkapaggera if ever magkaroon po ng gera between China.
I don't think so. They're only going to stay here for 90 days, Aaron. Ang sabi nila sa akin, they're only going to be there between 60 to 90 days, no more. And ano yan enclosed yan. Hindi sila makalabas. Yeah, those are what you call parang quarantine facility. Parang not quarantine, there's another word, not quarantine. It's something facilities. It's a holding facility. Hindi sila makalabas. Hindi sila makalabas.
So there was an assurance talaga, Senator, that hindi sila makalabas and at the same time, 90
There's an
days
assurance na hindi sila makalabas.
Confined sila.
Confined sila at babantayan ng ating mga Bureau of Immigrations. Na hindi ko na alam kung ipapalabas ng Bureau of Immigrations yun. Ano ba naman? May mga racketeer din doon. So kailangan mabantayan na maayos yun. Kasi yung pogo nga, nalalabas kung saan-saan. So dapat yan, mabantayan na maayos.
Okay, Mark, and then Sandra, related dito sa Asian.
So yung since there was a hearing initiated by Senator Aimee, have you talked to the senator? Like, saan po kayo nanggagaling yung ganitong
Actually,
desire niya to look into the issue? And even the Vice President, Sara Duterte, is expressed her position through Undersecretary Poa na even the Vice President is against this.
Well, I respect their opinions, one way or the other. But ang akin dyan is, I haven't spoken to her. I probably will in the future when we see each other. Pag may mga meetings kami, I will mention to her that that's my personal opinion. As I said, it's my personal opinion. It's not the opinion of the Senate. I've not discussed this with my colleagues at all. But as for my personal opinion, bilang isang miyembro, volunteer ng Red Cross at dating vice chairman ng Philippine Red Cross, it's the right and humanely thing to do.
Sir, is it ultimately the president's decision? Is this like...
The president has to allow it, of course. If he doesn't allow it, nothing happens.
Yes, sir. So basically, sir, we have the president's sister and the vice president and the Senate, giving this advice to the president right now. So, is it like
I
something...
leave it to the president. That's an executive decision. So, me and Senator Tol share the same view, and also several of our other colleagues that I've spoken to. I think that's the right thing. I'll give you an example. Galing ako ng States. I went to Utah, nakabisita ako dun sa Black Rifle Coffee. Itong Black Rifle Coffee was set up by veterans. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's now fastest growing coffee in the US. Ang nagpapatakbo nito ay veterans of all different American, not wars, but battles abroad. When I went there, they were so proud in saying that part of our workforce are Afghani nationals. And I met with them. Ito yung nag-guide sa kanila habang special forces, nag-ano sila. Ito yung mga guide nila, translators nila. And I met with them. They were so happy. They told me, sir, if we stayed back in Afghanistan, my whole family and I would be massacred. They were so happy. What are they doing now? They're brewing coffee. They're brewing coffee. Ang ganda, they're kids. They're so young. They have hope for the future. Otherwise, they would have been massacred. So sabi ko nga, that's a great example of a humanely thing to do, is to help these people.
So I think the concern also of Senator Aimee was that parang shrouded daw in secrecy all these talks that went through about this issue. Is
Well,
there even the
in
need
fairness,
to
when I went to the
publicize?
State Department, they asked me about it, kung pwede. I guess they don't, also the reason why they don't want to come out with this out loud is because of the safety of the 20,000 Afghan refugees that are waiting there. Biro mo ko ilabas yan, nasa international news. All these countries, naglabas ng statement, we will house the Afghan refugees. Baka lalo silang mababarilan. Baka ma-firing squad sila ng mas maaga. So that's why there's secrecy, because there's safety involved in this. Because they have to be flown out there. They have to be flown out. I think they have one in Pakistan. They have a halfway house in Pakistan. They have a halfway house in, Germany and Qatar. So they're looking at this other route also with the Philippines na para gawin ito.
Okay, Sandra, same issue.
Sir, related
Sandra.
to what you just said right now, so na-mention po ba nila why the Philippines, and I think it was the State Department, sir, no, that you talked to.
Yes,
So
Undersecretary Nulan.
so the context is they're asking your support?
Yeah, they're asking our support, and they asked me first how I feel about it. And syempre gumanang loob nila nung sinabi ko, as a Red Crosser, as a humanitarian who believes that we should help suffering humanity, I said I have no problems with it. I personally think it's the right thing to do. Nung sinabi ko po yan, then they explained, ito lang naman ang i-request namin, na malipat sila dyan for only 60 to 90 days. And it's not all, kasi marami naman silang halfway house all over the world. So parang hinihingilan nila a few thousand Afghan refugees. Ang kailangan lang gawin is at the soonest possible time para sa hindi malalagay sa alanganin ng kanilang mga buhay. Dahil sinabi nga niya na last week may 200 na dapat ilipat na sa Pakistan to check yung papeles papunta ng Estados Unidos. Hindi na nila mahanap, pina-disembark sa aeroplano at hindi na nila mahanap. And coming from them, that must be gospel truth, because it was an official meeting with the State Department. So ang sabi nila, at no expense to the Philippine government, gagawin nila lahat ng facilities, at lahat ng facilities will be returned to the Philippine people. It's going to be owned by the Filipino people. Pwede pa natin gamitin yan for housing. Pwede pa natin gamitin yan for Maybe halfway house also for the Bureau of Immigration kasi sa daming illegal na pumapasok dito na mga POGO operators, baka pwede na nilagay ito para secured yung mga facilities na ito. So, I mean, there's not a loss to the Philippines. There's no loss to the Philippines whatsoever.
So yung ano,
Sandali, meron pa si
sige.
Sandra pa.
Yes, lang, sir. Na-mention ba nila why the Philippines and after being processed here, saan po dadalhin?
Because they consider the Philippines as a close friend and ally. Diba? They're also trying to seek support with other countries around the region, but they feel that the Philippines is a close friend na pwede nilang makausap. And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
And then Macon, last na
So
about
yung ano, kasi yesterday also Senator Amy mentioned, sorry, Senator, she also filed a resolution about a certain landing of a US aircraft sa NAIA on June 26, and she's expressed fears na it's in relation to this issue na, and you mentioned she's also wondering kung may na-disembark na ba from that US aircraft when they landed. Have you heard of that issue?
I have no comment. I have no comment on that because I have no clue. I have no information on that.
But during your working visit, sir, is there like an understanding that US during your meeting na parang US aircraft can just arrive can just land at
we are treaty allies.
Yes, sir.
We are treaty allies. We have EDCA sites. We agreed to VFA, the Visiting Forces Agreement. The Visiting Forces Agreement allows U.S. government aircraft and personnel to visit the Philippines for training, for whatever purpose, no? That is needed to strengthen our alliance with the United States Defense Alliance. And we have EDCA sites, meaning that we have enhanced development, we have enhanced defense cooperation agreement sites all over the Philippines, including 4 kilometers from my house in Cagayan de Oro, in Lumbia. I don't mind.
Okay, last na ito about Afghan, ha? Macon, and then other issue na tayo. Okay.
Yes.
Macon.
Hello. Amid the rationale for humanitarian reason, hindi ba it's Afghanistan is one of the most dangerous countries. Tapos meron travel advisories against going there due to proliferation ng crime saka yung civil unrest. So, would you not consider na bakit kailangan nating i-accommodate sila rito? Is it safe for us?
Because they're human beings. Your blood and their blood are both red. Your children and their children are also musmus na kailangan tulungan at bigyan protection. Because it is the right thing to do. And you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm a Red Crosser, so sa pananaw ko, lahat kayo, may kasalanan mo, hindi, dapat mabuhay. So, again, I've been a Red Crosser for 20 years. I think when Henry Dunant founded the Red Cross in the Battle of Solferino, bumabasa dun sa carriage niya. Nakita niya, nagpapatay yung dalawang bansa. He didn't ask, are you Swiss? Are you French? Are you Italian? Hindi, tinulungan niya. Nilagyan niya ng tourniquet, tinulungan niya na. That's the Red Cross concept. So, I believe in that. I think that's on the issue on being I don't want to comment anymore on the Taliban and the Afghan people. I mean, this could happen. Remember that President Duterte, in his presidency, also welcomed the Rohingya. Yung Rohingya, dun sa Cambodia, Myanmar, yung issue ng Myanmar. He even said, we welcome the Rohingya, you can come here. Sinabi ni President Duterte yan. So, our country is known for its humanitarian causes.
Okay, may pahabol pa si Hannah.
No more follow-up question kasi
Salamat.
sobrang bait.
Thank you.
Si Hannah daw,
Ayun din,
pahabol.
alagaan ko kayo. Pag hinahabol kayo ng armadong tao, pwede kayo pumunta sa bahay ko. Ay, alagaan ko kayo.
Sir, follow-up lang po dun sa Afghan
Thank you.
issue. Sir, do you plan to communicate what you just said kay Senator Amy Marcos? Kasi parang
If I see her-
gigil na
if I see
gigil
her-
kasi siya dun sa
I mean,
issue.
we respect naman individual opinions of every senator. Iba yung estilo ko sa ibang mga liderato ng Senado. I'm not a dictator. I do not impose what I believe in to my colleagues. And I think that's why they like me. I'm a consultative leader, and I get consensus. So there are members of the Senate that feel differently, but that's not the consensus. The consensus will come out, and there might be another majority decision. But we respect every individual senator's rights and opinions. So kung ayaw niya, then I respect her. She must have her reasons, and I'm sure I respect those reasons. And the reason, and my reason, is my personal opinion and my personal reason for supporting this.
Sir, do you agree na mali kasi or parang hindi kasi maayos yung explanation ng DFA about this issue?
Isa pa yun. I think may problema din yung messaging ng DFA. Di ba? I think ayusin din ng DFA yung kanilang messaging talaga. And eventually, and I agree to this personal note given to me by my staff, the head of foreign policy, the chief architect of foreign policy is the president. So, if the president says to the DFA and NICA to pursue this for the best interest of the country, then so be it. No? Then you can give your opinion, you can go against it or not. But the architect of our foreign